bit different for me. But very late to that realization. As I said, only in my mid-60s did this really hit me. Although before that, I was coming to decisions and living in a different way by being childless, but hadn't really reflected on it until much, much later. So in a sense, it's still quite new to me. So writing the book was part of the process of dealing with that, and it has been a catharsis, and I'm now in a different place, having written it, than I was even 3 or 4 years ago. So I'm very late to realizing it, and this section is about grief and pain. So perhaps I could start by reading something that fits into that from the beginning of the book, right at the beginning of the book. Also, I'm not used to talking about myself in this way, and one of the things this book has done is, for my old friends that go back 30, 40, 50 years, I've just been Robert the bachelor, who hasn't married and doesn't have kids, and suddenly I produced this book, and it's been quite a shock for them to shift their understanding of who I am, and it's caused quite a bit of misunderstanding and challenges, not least with my partner's family and her sons. So it's a very complex picture. But the very first section in the book, if I may read it, it's called All Aboard the Pronatalism Express. And the first one is called The Train. Now, this is a true event. They got on at West Ham Station and sat opposite me. I started my journey on the Jubilee line at Stratford and was going into central London to see some exhibition. I forget what it was. They were a happy Saturday morning family. Mum, Dad, 2 kids, about 10 and 8. Where were they going? The Science Museum? Madame Tussauds? The changing of the guard? McDonald's? It was a weekend scene, a flurry of activity, the snatching back of phones, the pulling of faces, the admonitory glances from a parent when they thought one of the kids had transgressed tube train etiquette. It was a display of anarchic freedom acted out in the calm waters of confident parental love. It was playing up, but within boundaries which everyone was familiar with. My partner and I were drawn into this exhibition of generational jousting. We glanced at each other and smiled. The smile stayed on our lips as we looked across the gangway at the mother. She acknowledged us and produced a faint, watery grin. The train entered the tunnel just after Canning Town, and then the magic broke. Something in me snapped. What I had been watching was no longer an enchanting performance. Now all I could see was a family of 4, and all I could feel was a knife plunged into my ribs. I felt sick, leaned forward, and clenched my teeth. One arm lifted without purpose and fell again into my lap. I stared at the advertisements. One was for online dating, another for hair gel. A third asked customers to continue to wear a face mask. "Are you okay?" my partner asked. "Sorry, I can't take this anymore. I've got to move." She sighed. "Not again. You did this last week." "I know, I can't help it." "Don't you think it's time you accepted the fact that every time you travel on the tube, you're going to see families?" Yes, of course it's time, I sarcastically echoed her choice of words. I got up and walked down the carriage, leaving it up to her whether she followed or stayed put. Luckily, she followed me, and I never saw that family again. I was breathing heavily. My heart was beating hard. Beads of sweat had broken out on my brow. I sat down in an empty seat, and she joined me, taking my hand and squeezing it. She leaned across and kissed me on the lips. God, I was lucky to have her. Sorry, but I just can't stand it, I said, staring me in the face like that, mocking me for all that I hadn't achieved.